By late March 1945, the Allied advance through Germany had reached an almost surreal speed. General George S. Patton's Third Army was racing across the Reich so fast, it seemed to be outrunning the very rules of war. After crossing the Rhine at Oppenheim and catching the German command completely by surprise, Patton now faced a new obstacle, the historic city of Aschaffenburg. To him, this city was more than just another point on the map. It was a strategic key. Its bridges needed to stay intact, and a quick capture could open the road to the Bavarian plains. But on the ground, Patton quickly realized he wasn't dealing with a city ready to surrender. As the 45th Infantry Division, the famous Thunderbirds, approached the outskirts, one man was preparing to defend the city to the extreme. That man was Emil Lamberth, a fanatical Nazi commander determined to turn Aschaffenburg into a fortress. For him, surrender was not an option. Patton wasn't the type to wait. From his command post, he watched the situation develop and understood that a long, costly siege could slow his entire offensive. He wanted a fast solution. Rather than immediately committing his troops to street fighting, he chose an even more brutal approach: psychological pressure. On the morning of April 1st, 1945, Easter Sunday, a small jeep under a white flag advanced toward the German lines. Inside were an American officer and a German-speaking sergeant carrying a typed letter signed in Patton's name. The message was delivered to the civilian authorities, then passed to Mayor Wilhelm Wolfeld and military commander Lamberth. The letter's tone was ice-cold. Aschaffenburg was surrounded. American artillery batteries were already targeting the city center, bridges, and residential areas. Then came the final warning. The city had 15 minutes to surrender unconditionally. If no white flag appeared within that window, Patton would order its total destruction. This wasn't just a threat. It was a countdown. Patton was betting that fear, confusion, and responsibility would break the city's leadership before a single shell fell. Inside City Hall, the atmosphere grew suffocating. Seconds ticked by on the clock. Wolfeld knew exactly what awaited Aschaffenburg if Patton followed through. The Americans had the firepower to obliterate much of the city. But the mayor also knew something else. If he surrendered too quickly, he risked becoming a Nazi target. His dilemma was terrible. Saving the city could cost him his life. Resisting could condemn the civilians. He turned to Lamberth and begged to spare the women and children hiding in basements. According to several accounts, he told the American envoy he would gladly hand over the city keys, but the Nazi commander standing behind him would likely hang him before the first American tank reached the central square. Lamberth remained unyielding. He asked for no extension. He negotiated nothing. He replied that Patton could have his 15 minutes, but Aschaffenburg would keep its honor. If the Americans wanted the city, they'd have to kill every man, woman, and child inside it. When the deadline expired, the American envoy returned to his lines. The answer was clear: no surrender. Back at his observation post, Patton received the report. The mayor had wanted to yield, but military command refused. For Patton, that was enough. He offered no second chance. He turned to his artillery commander and gave the order that would decide the city's fate. Give them everything we've got. Level it. What followed was one of the heaviest urban bombardments of the Western Front in the war's final weeks. The 45th Division's artillery, reinforced by Corps-level heavy guns, pounded Aschaffenburg for hours. The sky filled with smoke, dust, and explosions. Shells hammered bridges, streets, buildings, and defensive positions. But Patton didn't stop there. He wanted the city taken house by house. Infantry moved forward immediately. Every neighborhood needed clearing, every building searching, every basement checking. The Battle of Aschaffenburg became a miniature war within the war. An entire city transformed into a field of ruins. The German defenders were a mix of regular soldiers, SS men, and teenage Volkssturm militia. They fought from basements, sewers, attics, and the ruins of Johannesburg Castle. The American advance turned into a brutal grind. Every street had to be cleared at great cost. Sherman tanks fired point-blank into windows, doors, sometimes directly into upper floors. Resistant buildings were methodically destroyed. Every corner could hide a gunman, a sniper, or a fanatic ready to die. Thunderbird soldiers, who had already fought in Sicily, Italy, and the Vosges, later said Aschaffenburg was among the fiercest urban combat they'd experienced. Snipers proved particularly dangerous. Some accounts mention young women from Nazi youth groups, hidden in attics, targeting American officers. Patton's response was unambiguous. Buildings firing snipers were taken without mercy. The no-quarter promise in his letter became brutal street reality. Day by day, Aschaffenburg disappeared under rubble. Shelling, fires, flamethrowers, and close combat slowly destroyed the city. Churches, homes, civic buildings, the castle, all suffered. After 10 days of continuous fighting, the city was unrecognizable. Roughly 80% of Aschaffenburg lay in ruins. On April 3rd, final German resistance collapsed. Lamberth, the man who swore never to surrender, was found hiding in a basement. He didn't die fighting. He capitulated. This ending is telling. The commander demanding total sacrifice didn't follow his own logic to the end. He surrendered when the situation became hopeless. Patton entered the city once fighting stopped. He drove his jeep through streets reduced to brick piles. The castle stood hollow. Cordite and death hung in the air. He offered no apologies. To him, the message was simple. Had Aschaffenburg surrendered within the deadline, much of it would still stand. He saw the destruction as both a tactical lesson and warning to other towns in the Third Army's path. His staff photographed the ruins, then dropped leaflets over approaching cities. Images showed Aschaffenburg's devastation with a clear message. This happens when you ignore Patton's 15-minute warning. The psychological impact was massive. After Aschaffenburg, many towns surrendered at the first sight of American scouts. Aschaffenburg remains one of Patton's most controversial episodes. To some, his 15-minute ultimatum was brilliant psychological warfare that saved American lives and sped war's end. To others, it was unnecessary brutality against a civilian center already caught in war's spiral. What's certain, Patton made Aschaffenburg an example. He weaponized fear and showed willingness to destroy a city to avoid retaking it multiple times. Mayor Wohlfeld survived the war, but that day's choice scarred him forever. Caught between American shells and Nazi violence, he had no true safe path. Today, Aschaffenburg stands rebuilt, yet battle traces linger in old castle stonework. They remind that in 15 minutes, an entire city's fate changed. Patton believed fear could persuade faster than words. In Aschaffenburg, he proved it spectacularly.